All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to another great episode on your favorite political talk show, The Truth with Ben Jokes. Now, Africa remains the biggest market for the Western countries, including the United States of America. Look around you, most of the finished products we consume were imported from these countries, so our underdevelopment profits them. Therefore, it doesn't make sense for us to even think that they should join us to fix Africa. But here is the thing. If you don't like us, be clear about it. Don't pretend. Don't call yourself a democratic nation that is the world's democracy police. Then you watch an undemocratic and rigged process and you go ahead to put a democracy approval stamp on it. INEC chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu went around the world saying he was going to make sure that results of the 2023 presidential election were snapped and sent from the polling units to IREV in real time to ensure transparency. Meaning, if that did not happen, we cannot call it a transparent process. But on election day, 3 elections held, and he refused to do it for the presidential election alone for obvious reasons. But the United States of America, being the worldwide watchdogs of democracy, refused to say anything. And when Mahmoud Yakubu's result was challenged in court, the Nigerian constitution was clearly violated and it became clearer that democracy was in a chokehold. But we heard nothing from the champions of democracy. Finally, the drug and certificate cases came up. And at that point, the US could have intervened if they had any good intentions at all. But they didn't. Or maybe they did secretly, and that would mean that their intentions weren't good. But few hours ago, the same US government came out to say that the TINUBU regime is very corrupt, that he has continued with the country's massive corruption by appointing thieves as cabinet members. And Nigerians were like, oh, so you people are just waking up. You saw all these things, you knew all these things, but you said nothing. And they slammed them for their hypocrisy. Before I show you how they said it and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you this video where the EFCC chairman, Mr. Olukoyede, talked about the ex-Kogi State Governor, Yahaya Bello. See the video.
Class of offense is there. It's before court. Go and check it. Apply for our processes, please. You will get some of these particulars of offense there. Move money directly from government to bring the change. Use it to pay the child's school fee in advance. In advance. Dollars. How much? 70 what? In dollars, yes. In dollars. I think $72,000 or thereabout. $720,000, sorry. $720,000 in advance. In anticipation that he was going to leave government house. In a poor state like Kogi. And you want me to close my eyes to that? Under the guise of saying I'm being used. Used by who? At this stage of my life? Used by who? By who? For crying out loud. I assumed office here. I didn't initiate the case. I inherited the case file. I called for the case file. I called for the report. And I said, look, there are issues here. Do you know on my honor, I put a call across to him, which ordinarily I'm not supposed to do, just to honor him as a governor, as a immediate past governor. Sir, there are issues. I've seen this case file. Can you just come? Let us clarify these issues. I'm under camera. He said, sir, I thank you, my brother. I know, but I can't come. There's one lady, I don't know what her name is, that she learned she had set, she has surrounded the FCC with over 100 journalists, to come and embarrass him and intimidate him and all kind of stuff. I said, okay, if that is your fear, I'm going to pass you through my own gate, special man's gate. You will come to my floor. We will accord you that respect. I will invite my operatives. They will come and interrogate you or interview you in my own office. What could be more honorable than that? In my own office. To allay the fear. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. You know what he said? But can't they come to my village?
You heard that. And this is just in Kogi State, a relatively poor state. A governor did this. So you can imagine what those other governors are doing in those other states like Lagos, Rivers, Bayelsa. This is the mess that we have found ourselves in as a country. And it will take a person with zero tolerance for corruption to rescue this country. Because no matter how serious the EFCC chairman wants to make us believe he is, We know this is not entirely about a fight against corruption. Akpabio has an EFCC case. The present Minister of Defense, Matawale, has a worse case than this, to mention but a few. But nobody is saying anything about them. Bello deserves all that is and will still come his way because he messed up as a governor. But this move by the EFCC does not suddenly mean that they have become a transparent body. If anything, this revelation should ginger Nigerians to get up and take their country back. Now, let us look at what the US government said about the TINUBU regime. Look at how the papers reported it. TINUBU continued Nigeria's massive corruption by appointing Treasury looter Atiku Bagudu to cabinet, US government. The US government is concerned that TINUBU is continuing the massive corruption trend of his predecessors, giving his ministerial appointment of Abubakar Bagudu, a corruption-tainted associate of former Nigerian dictator Sani Abacha. There was no significant difference between Mr. Tinubu's nearly one-year performance and that of his predecessor, Muhammadu Buhari, according to a report that outlined the American government's assessment and scorecard of Nigeria's human rights practices. Despite many reports that Mr. Bagudu was complicit in his deceased principal's looting of hundreds of millions of dollars from the government treasury, the majority of which have been repatriated to Nigeria by several nations, including France, UK, and Switzerland, Mr. Tinubu still forwarded Mr. Bagudu's name as a ministerial nominee to the Senate for screening and confirmation. In August, Tinubu appointed former Governor Abubakar Bagudu the Minister of Budget, despite Bagudu's widely reported history of helping the then President Sani Abacha steal hundreds of millions of dollars from the government in the 90s. The US government stated in its 2023 country reports on human rights practices in Nigeria, Mr. Bagudu, unfettered by his ministerial position, continued to leech on government funds, initiating moves to block France from repatriating $150 million loot stolen by the late Abacha unless he got 20% cut. Mr. Bagudu claimed he had an interest in the stolen funds and would only back down if paid $30 million, a condition Mr. Tinubu's government was compelled to agree to since it was determined to recover the stolen funds. The move to block the repatriation underscored Mr. Bagudu's brazenness and probable influence on the incumbent, who still allows him to occupy the ministerial position. That Mr. Bagudu is allowed to function as a key member of Tinubu's administration despite his documented financial misdeeds has done little to inspire the US's confidence that Mr. Tinubu will be any different from his predecessors. Any different, or actually worse than his predecessors. Atiku Bagudu is asking for $30 million out of Abacha's $150 million loot, and he remains a minister under this administration. If you are wise, you would understand how that $30 million will be shared if Atiku Bagudu gets it. And it's not like the other $120 million will be used to the benefit of Nigerians. It won't. It's all about looting and relooting. Think about all the Abacha loot that was returned under Buhari, millions of dollars. Nigerians didn't feel the impact, did we? Today, nobody talks about what Buhari received anymore. So the next person that comes in will do the same. Any penny that enters into this country in the name of Abacha loot, forget about it. And the US cannot pretend like they expected Tinubu to be different from Buhari. And look at how Nigerians reacted. Look at some of the tweet reactions. This tweet here by Credo says, but the same US signed off on this massive election fraud committed by Tinubu. Why would they be concerned about the type of cabinet he has now? Let his legacy continue. Please allow the man. Oh, and Lucas here says, why is the US complaining now? The same Biden government was forced to recognize Nigeria's most controversial election ever held in the history of the country. The same Biden congratulated Tinubu for the job well done. So why is the US government condemning our minister? Can Nigeria point a finger at any of their ministers as such? America with their confusion everywhere. And this tweet by Regardless says, like he was going to be different or what? US government should face front. Like you don't know what he was before now. I beg you. That is it. You all know what he was before now. So let's just continue with the status quo. Nobody should pretend as if he's shocked that anything happened. There's nothing shocking here. But it doesn't make sense for any Nigerian to actually sit around and blame the US government. We are Nigerians. If anything is going on in our country and we don't like it, we should be the ones to rise up against it. Our fate is in our hands as Nigerians, and that is why I keep saying it. I say the freedom that we desire, the dividend of democracy that we crave as Nigerians, will never be our portion until we cast sentiments aside and come together to kick the APC and the PDP out of power. But until then, make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una. Now I dey here. So don't go away.